Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm working with a sketch that I pulled from Pinterest, but it's originally from scrapbook.com, and I am using it because I knew I wanted a circular element because my photos have a really large globe in them. It's actually not a globe per se that you would spin and look at as a map, but it was at an event that we went to and we were all able to go inside of it, so it's huge. And because of that, I went ahead and created a cut file using either a JPEG or a PNG image. I'm not exactly sure which one I ended up using on this layout because I created cut files out of both, and I just did that in my Funtime software that came with my Gazelle. I have a Bosscut Gazelle that I use. I know most people have a Silhouette. I have access to a Silhouette, but I did cut this on my Gazelle. So the paper that I am using there is all from Chamel, with the exception of the blue circle that I'm going to border that cut file with. So I have pretty much most of her earlier collections stacked up, and I decided I better get to using them because they look better in my scrapbook than on the shelf. So this pink paper was the perfect addition for this layout because it has the circular element as well, and I really like the movement that it gives the eye with the cut file kind of centered there. And then the sketch also had the bracket on one side of it. It's like a bracket cut out, and I did cut that out as well on my Gazelle, and then I wasn't sure which paper I was going to use, so when I figured out which paper I was using, I just traced it. It's simple enough to fussy cut that one out. And I just used the blue side of the paper. It has some stars in it, and then I'm trimming down two sides of the pink paper because I know that I am going to back it with another sheet of paper so that there's a border all the way around. Well, that yellow paper I'm going to use right down the center, and I'm going to trim it down to be about an inch and a half wide by approximately 10 or 10.5 inches tall. That is also another piece that is on the sketch. I don't normally follow sketches, but when I do, I feel like I need to follow them exactly. I guess I'm kind of a rule follower in that perspective. So I think that's why I don't normally follow them, is because I feel like I'm too strict on myself and have to follow them to a T. Now, in a previous video, I did say I was going to use these 3 small frames, which I do have difficulty using, but I wanted to make it a point to get them used up and out of my stash as well, and so they made it onto this layout. And there you can see in the photo the big, huge globe. It actually held like 15 people inside of it, and it had a zipper enclosure, so it's kind of cool. And in the photo, the kids are all kind of like looking around. The photos of them are from them on the inside of the globe, and they're kind of like looking around like, what in the heck? This is like the weirdest, coolest, but strangest thing that we've ever been in. We were doing a homeschool field trip as part of a group that was studying, it's actually a project called the Jason Project, and they go to different areas of the world and study the ecosystem and the economics and technology in those areas. And so this was part of the Jason Project, and this field trip was held at NASA in Sunnyvale. So that is what we were doing, and I tried really hard to get that globe paper on there. I don't believe it worked out in the end. It matched really well, but it just kind of got covered up too much to really be worth using on this layout. It didn't provide enough extra interest. It just got kind of busy. So I'm going to use this orange paper to map my photo, and pretty quick here you're going to see me change the entire direction everything's going to do a 180 because I felt like I was covering up too much of the cut file. And so in turning it and doing a 180, you still get to see pieces of the cut file and the and where it's backed, and it makes a little more sense to your eye. Okay, now I'm going through all of my embellishments that are from Shimelle, and the one that I just placed in the upper right hand corner says you're only limited by your imagination, and the globe there in the center says let's go on an adventure. I have most of her collection all in one box. All of my other embellishments I've sorted by color, but for some reason my Shimelle stuff I just can't seem to break them apart. I love them so much, and I just keep them all together because they all go well together, and I'm finally starting to use them up, so I want to make sure that they're easily accessible as I try and work through some of these collections and get them into my albums rather than just sitting on my shelf. You can see I've pulled out a secondary globe die cut, and I've used that on the right hand side. I just like a lot of round things on this layout. It kind of it just gives some movement, and I just like the way they all kind of play off of each other. Now I am using my Distress ink. This is just Black Soot Distress ink, and I have finally refilled my ink pad, so it is a little bit darker. I probably could have put more ink on it, but we're now kind of to the charcoal color when it goes onto paper rather than the slate gray. It could probably use more ink soaked up into it, but I've been pretty lazy about getting to that. I'm using some adhesive from Tonic Studios. This adhesive works really well. It's a little bit like tacky glue, dries clear, holds everything really well. It's also much like their, I believe it's called Funky Glue, and it's really inexpensive, and it does the job. So I've been actually enjoying using that. And here I am trying to decide on the placement for the title. I am using some gold glitter thickers that I believe were created for one of Shimelle's lines, and they are called Let's Go. And the two phrases that I am using words from were Around the World and Take It In. So I'm taking the word in from Take It In, and I'm taking the world from Around the World and putting them together, and that will be my title, In the World. I just wanted it really clear that we were inside that globe, not standing on the outside looking at it, but it was just this massive thing that we got to go inside, and it was really kind of cool. And the kids were really kind of like, I don't know, taken back by it, maybe is the right word. It was just a unique experience, and we all really enjoyed it. Now you can see that upper die cut there that says you're only limited by your imagination. I just snipped two of the edges there so that it could fit down underneath the photo. I didn't want the bottom part of it showing, and rather than cutting it off, I just decided to snip it so that it would tuck down nicely and rest on the top of the photo. And then I am using some craft foam, and I am just sticking that along the top edge so that it gives it a little dimension and a little lift off of the page. And again, I want something circular up there, so I have cut one of the round die cuts in half, and I'm using half in the upper right hand corner, and then the other half will be down in the lower left hand area of embellishments. The circles just really mimic the globe so well, so I think that's why I decided I needed so many circles on this page. And you just saw me throw a little bit of that adhesive onto my fingers, and then I rolled the baker's twine in between my fingers with the adhesive. That's just so it doesn't unravel. If you've watched my videos, you've seen me do this many times. I don't like my ribbon and my baker's twine to unravel, so that's why I do that. And a lot of people use wax paper to hold their thickers and and then they can move it around on their layout and see where they want it. I just use a ruler. I've used it for a long time. I actually recently got the thicker alignment guides, and so sometimes I pull those out as well. But this ruler, it's really handy. It just is sticking out of my bag all the time, so I just pull it out, and that's what I use. And I've played around with where I wanted the words, and I think I finally got it situated there on the top of the cut file. And then I'm just going to continue inking things up and using that craft foam to build visual interest by adding more and more dimension to the page. I'm going to end up switching out the baker's twine off of that tag in the upper right hand corner. Right now it is currently orange and white, but I will be switching it out to pink and white. I'll also use the pink and white in the tag on the lower left hand corner. And the reason I'm not adding the orange is it's not really used in any of the 3 embellishment clusters. It's only used to back the photo, and so it wasn't really adding anything. It was kind of just drawing your eye up there for no reason. I've used that other half of the circle die cut, and the little flowers that are on it, I wanted those to peek out. So as I wrap up the layout, the only thing I have left is to back the entire thing with another sheet of paper, creating a border. And then I'm going to add some puffy hearts from the same thicker collection to the 3 areas. And then the journaling, which you're not going to see me do on screen. I like to do that when I get the entire event scrapbooked. I will do it more in a story format, so I will do all of those at one time. If I am just doing a single photo for maybe just a personality page, then I would do that more at the time of the layout being made. Now, as we come to an end here, you're going to see the close-ups in just a few seconds. Thank you so much for watching today. If you're not a subscriber, I'd love for you to hit that red button down below, and if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, you can go ahead and leave those for me as well, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Again, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time.